this is Jill Simonello with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We are looking at the new Hyundai Kona N, and this is a performance vehicle from Hyundai, and while this is an SUV, the competitive set are going to be vehicles like the Subaru WRX, the Volkswagen Golf GTI, and the Jetta GLI, as well as the Civic Type R. Not SUVs. So this is a really interesting vehicle, and what makes it even more interesting is you can go get your groceries and then go to the racetrack and you don't have to change a thing. And that is really cool. So in this video, we're gonna drive it on the racetrack, we're gonna do some street driving, and I'm gonna walk you around the vehicle to show you what is new and different and unique on the Kona N. So let's take a closer look right now. So I just want to do a quick walk around of the exterior of the Kona N because there are definitely some distinctions that you will see here. And the biggest one is going to be all of the red accents. So you see the red around the rim at the bottom. You're going to notice some red accents here. You will see these brake calipers that are also red, and I'd like to point out that these are developed in-house by Hyundai, so they are not Brembo brakes. You will not see these on any other vehicle. They are unique to the N vehicles. So 19-inch wheels here, and I guess I should say 19-inch tires and alloy wheels going on here. But you know, again, as you walk around the vehicle, you are going to notice this larger rear spoiler, and again, some of the red accents, as well as this dual exhaust system. So you'll also see the N badging. So we've got one here, and then you've got one kind of embossed right here. And then as you move to the front on the grille, if you didn't see it earlier, you've got this one here. So just a little bit more muscular looking, in my opinion, with some of these nice accents. And I find this to be attractive, sporty, and looks really good. So frankly, I like it better than the regular Kona version. So let's take a look inside. Now, when you come inside, again, you're going to notice some differences here right off the bat. And it's starting with this steering wheel, because you have these N mode buttons. And these are buttons that you can basically customize your drive. So changing your chassis, suspension, steering to your own preferences. And you've got your N1 and N2 buttons. Anybody who's familiar with the BMW M series, probably going to be a little bit familiar with these buttons. And then you have the N grid shift button here. So you're going to notice in terms of visual differences, the blue stitching here, and you've got a special N gear shift here, and this is an 8-speed wet dual clutch transmission. This is going to be the automatic transmission that you will find on all of the N models. So the Veloster, the Elantra, and the Kona N all get that 8-speed dual clutch transmission. So let's power it up really quick. All right, so you don't have any of the infographics. You just have some simple basic chimes going on. And this is a 10-inch screen. This is a 10-inch screen. So 10.25 inches, I believe, is the exact number. So those are both 10.25-inch screens, both digital. Here's the really cool thing. When you press this N button, this right here, the display cluster, is going to change. But let's take a look at this really quick. This is also very different from the regular N models, or the regular N line, or the regular Kona models, because you have the turbo SI and then the pound-feet of torque. It'll show you right there as you're driving what your numbers are. So that alone, you're not going to see on the normal models. But when you press this button, it changes again. So that's a little bit more sporty. It tells you what gear you're in the middle. So I'm obviously parked. It's got your speed, your RPMs. Then over here, other things you're going to really care about if you're racing, your oil temperature, your engine temperature, and your G meter over there. So I think that is pretty cool as well. And then when you change your drive modes, it goes back to something that looks like that, with the speedometer and tachometer on the sides. But yeah, I like how that looks, because the other thing that happens, I don't know if you can hear it, but the exhaust note kind of gets a little bit deeper as well when that happens. All right, let's go over here for a second, because when you go into your menu screen, you have this N mode here. And so this is something that's also going to be unique and special, and you can see all of your different racing kind of things that you might want here. So you can do your lap times. It's going to show you your percentage of throttle, oil temperature. That's kind of cool, the circuit. And so depending on what track you're on, there are some items here. So Road America is one of my home tracks. Actually, that is my home track. So you can click on it. It's going to show you the shape of it, and then it can follow you as you are going around the track. So that is really cool and interesting. So we are at Sonoma today. I don't see that on here, so that's a little sad, but can't play with that, but kind of an interesting little feature. So but I don't know, so it's interesting. It's giving you a whole bunch of details for somebody who's going to take this on a racetrack, and things that they are going to want to know. So yeah, I like that. But again, this is something that you are going to see on the N models only. This is not going to be on your typical vehicles. Now, while we are inside here, the other thing I'm going to point out is everything that you see is going to be standard. And if you remember the Kona, the regular Kona, I think that the materials look a little bit cheap, and this does not. This does not look cheap at all. It has a lot of nice details. In the steering wheel feels really good in your hands. So does the gear shifter. You've got nice material choices. This is, even though it's a little bit rough, it's not a hard touch plastic. It's a soft touch plastic. This is going to be plastic. That's going to be a little bit plastic, but this is a nice touch feature. That also a little bit plastic, but you have some nice touch points here that feel good, and you have again, nice materials here. So leatherette with a suede material in the center, and you have wireless charging, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You have USB charge ports. You have the climate controls going on, but here's this thing here. You've got heated seats. So everything is standard that you see, because they figure that an SUV customer wants some more luxurious features. And so in addition to the heated seats, you're going to have power driver's seat, and again, these gorgeous touchscreen displays, well, gorgeous 10-inch displays. This is touchscreen, and all of your end performance gauges and clusters. The one thing that you do not have, however, is a moonroof. So I will point that out, that I don't know if that's necessarily a miss, but I did have some people ask if the US version was getting the moonroof, and yeah, it is not. One final quick walk around of the exterior here, because I want to point out that what you see is what you get. So everything here is going to be standard, and if you want to select anything, basically on the Kona, you can select the color. That's about it. Otherwise, what you see is what you get, including those heated seats. So I just wanted to take a quick look at the engine, because obviously in addition to the exterior and interior unique features, this is going to be the primary difference. So this is a 2.0 liter turbocharged engine, and this is shared by the other N vehicles. So this is also in the Elantra, it's also in the Veloster N, and it will deliver 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque. Now, the 0 to 60 mile per hour time is 5.2 seconds. So while the horsepower and torque ratings really aren't different from the Hyundai and the Kona, the 0 to 60 mile per hour times are. So this is 5.2 seconds. I believe the Elantra is 5 seconds. 5 seconds flat. But this is a really cool engine, and it is mated to the 8-speed wet dual clutch transmission. And yeah, there is no manual transmission available on the Kona N, but I haven't driven it on the track yet, but they tell me that this thing will shift before I even think to shift, and it is way better. So we'll see. All right, I just wanted to give a couple of quick on-road driving impressions, because I've literally been behind the wheel of the Kona N for like 10 minutes. But the first thing I noticed is this vehicle feels a lot more solid and planted than the regular Kona, which it should. But it also feels a lot more up-level and, I don't know, luxurious. And it's the materials that are used, the way the steering wheel feels in your hand, and certainly it's the chassis and suspension dynamics. And I took a little bit of a turn over some potholed roads, and I played around with the, N mode versus, comfort mode, and you can definitely tell a difference, especially on bumpy roads. That comfort mode kind of smooths things out, will make this more of an everyday driver. But then when you go into the N modes and you change your suspension settings, everything just gets a little bit tighter and a lot more fun. So I haven't driven this on the racetrack yet. It's coming. But I think this is one of those vehicles that can be the best of both worlds, because it's going to be comfortable as an everyday driver. These seats are amazing. You've got heated leather seats. They're not leather, but heated seats, which, thank you. But then you can change everything with the press of a button and take it out to the track. And the beautiful thing is, when you take it out to the track, you don't have to change your tires, your brakes, your fluids. Everything is track ready. Giving this a thumbs up so far. Raceway, and I'm just kind of taking a little bit of a lap in the Kona N, and I have to say, this is a lot of fun. It does things you don't think it should be able to do. If I had to be succinct about what this vehicle is and what it means and summarize everything that I think in one sentence, I couldn't do it. But I'm going to try and be brief here, because this is one of the coolest vehicles I think I've driven in a while, because it's capable and it's functional, and you can put stuff in the back. It's an SUV, so it has a little bit of the utilitarian function to it, but you can take it to a racetrack. And as you saw, driving on the track here at Sonoma Raceway was really, really fun. And while this isn't quite like the Elantra N, it's not going to hug the curves really well and be super fast, it does really well. So if you're looking for something that's both functional and fun, I'm going to say you got to start your shopping right here.